Hello, good evening. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Mostly Ballin podcast. I am Ben, and tonight we have another guest from the Exeter Otters, Adam. Hi, Adam. How are you doing?
Hello there. Very well, thank you. Very well indeed.
Good, good. It's exciting to have you. Quite good friends with Jack. We've had Jack on the pod a few times, and one of your teammates, Lee. So
Yeah.
it's only right to have another player on, and I'm glad you're with us. So
Oh, brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it. We're good.
good, good. I'm glad. I was speaking to Jack in the week, and Jack tells me that you're a bit of an Octrons veteran.
Yes.
Tells me that you're a really nice guy overall, and that you're a bit of a class one. And I can't figure out whether by class one he means that you're a class guy, or he means that you're what's the word like a class one in terms of wheelchair basketball
Yeah,
player.
yeah, that's my classification. So class one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I've been told about you. So why don't I hand over to you and you tell us a little bit about who you are and your journey so far?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I started with Exeter Otters back in, I think it was probably about 2017. I was at college and I met up with a friend that I hadn't seen for a while, and he said, "I play wheelchair basketball. Do you want to come along and give it a go?" Something that I've been wanting to do. I've wanted to get into some kind of sport for quite a long time, so it was a perfect opportunity for me to be able to do that. And so I went along to this one of the Saturday sessions for sort of development, and from there it just kind of the rest is history, as they say. I started with the very basic skills because at that point I'd only done sort of a little bit of basketball when I was at school.
Yeah.
So it was quite nice to be able to go back to basics and sort of understand the game and get the core skills really. And that was kind of the first part of the journey. And then slowly but surely, I started to do tournaments with the Saturday team, and so I could get a bit of experience. And then that still continued and does continue now. I'm still part of that setup. But then during COVID, the COVID years, I got a call from Jack to say, would you like to come along to one of our first team games and give it a go? And that actually happened to be a Premier League game. And
Okay.
I was, it was kind of baptism by fire, as they say. That gave me a real sort of insight as to sort of the actual game. And
Yeah.
took it from there. And I've been with the first team ever since.
Brilliant. How was that sort of? I mean, from 2017 through to like sort of that early COVID stage, how was that step up for you and sort of compared to the early days starting out, and how have you felt things have played out looking back?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, the more you do something, the better you get. And
Yeah.
I think to start with, obviously, I was still learning, and you still learn now. I still learn sort of every time I play.
Yeah.
But it was a big step up because having only done sort of, I guess, friendly type tournaments,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
when you go into league type games, actually it is more serious,
Yes.
and there are a lot more things that you need to consider. So that's sort of that step up was a little bit of a shock to the system to start with, but actually one that I really, really enjoyed, and I'm so glad I did it because obviously that led to where I am now.
Yeah, definitely. One thing, I'm interested to know, and I'm sure people that watch the episodes will also be interested to know, is as I've sort of talked about with Jack, and when I sat down with Lee, what is sort of the wheelchair basketball world, aside from playing, and looking at the tournament side of things, what has it meant to you as an individual, and maybe is got something to do with it, growing up or a disability? What has it brought to you, as a person?
It's brought so much. I think sort of when I was younger, there was never the sport aspect out there. Certainly down in this part of the country, kind of it was something, as I said earlier, that I wanted to get into some kind of sport,
Yeah.
some kind of physical exercise, and finding basketball, I then was able to build connections. I mean, teammates are just, that is having a good team, and being part of a strong core is so beneficial.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing I've taken out of being with Otters, is actually that connection,
Mm-hmm.
and having those teammates who, because obviously we all have a disability,
Yeah.
of some description, and being able to relate to that, is actually so important. And
Yeah.
so when you're going through, a tough time, then actually people around you know exactly how you feel, even if, because it's obviously everyone has a different disability,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone can relate one way or another. So having that connection with everyone is just amazing, really.
Yeah, definitely. And as you say, obviously you've sort of come through the ranks, and sort of grounded yourself as a veteran. Still taking part in the Saturday sessions, and sort of the other side, as well as first team. I'm assuming. It's,
Yes, I am. Not. I haven't been able to go as much recently, but yes, I do still go, and I do still take part in the tournaments. Just so more so that I can still build the skills,
yeah.
because actually it is quite useful to go back and to keep going with those core skills, but also to help sort of the younger players that are coming through, to help them build and to learn as well. And I
Yeah.
think that's so important, because at the end of the day, a team isn't just built on a few people; it's built on a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to actually give something back, and to help people who are where I was all these years ago.
Yeah, and as you said before, obviously growing up there wasn't that sort of sports aspect. So to have all these young people feeding through, and I find it with the club that I'm at up here, it's great to be a part of that. And something I sort of wrote down in my notes as we were speaking in the week and speaking with Jack. You've recently, in this, well, I say recently, it was more so in the summer. You've got your level one coaching.
Yeah.
So obviously that helps to feed, sort of teaching the younger generation. Is that something that you sort of see yourself heading into once sort of the playing days are over?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think having a role as a coach again helps to build, other people, and I think, yeah, having that, I definitely will look to do it, because even when my playing days are over, I think it's still good to keep that connection and to inspire, sort of the next generation, really.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely, it would be definitely something that I'll still be looking to continue.
Is that something I've got to ask? I've got to be cheeky and ask. Is that something that you've brought on yourself, or is that something that your good friend Jack has
Yeah,
instilled into you?
it was Jack to start with, and the more he said, I think you would be, a good person to actually become a coach. And I
Yeah,
think that's the thing. Sometimes with that sort of thing, you don't see it within yourself.
yeah, I know.
Um, so having somebody else say, actually, hey, I think you would be good at this, does give you the push to actually say, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
And I think, yeah, I certainly learned a lot through that as well, because obviously, doing the course and everything, and coaching is coaching is definitely a different thing to playing.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
one thing knowing how to play basketball, but it's another thing knowing how to coach that side of it and actually make sure that people understand what you want them to do.
Yeah.
I didn't quite realise that until I started actually practicing and sort of coaching a bit more within the club.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. Very good. Very good. Speaking of Jack, we're gonna. He always comes into these episodes. I'm sure deep down he loves it.
Of course.
What's he like away from the court now? Speaking to Lee a few months back, he said about heading into the gym and having him do that side of things with you. Is that something that you get involved with as well, away from a Saturday or away from a game day?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is. It's Lee, Jack, and I that go to the gym on a Monday,
yeah,
yeah, that side is actually really good as well. A, because it's good to have the physical exercise, but B, having your teammates around you motivates you. It certainly motivates me to go to the gym,
yeah,
because kind of otherwise it's really easy to slip into that train of thought which says actually I don't want to go tonight, I won't bother. But actually when you've got others that are going, and it's another social sort of aspect.
yeah.
We're all there together, and the camaraderie is brilliant as well. So yeah, it's something that we all do together. It's actually really, really good.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, it's that element of accountability, isn't it? And not just on the court, but away from it, and having that team as, I suppose, as like a second family sort of thing. Um, so what is, again, sort of that opportunity to be a part of it, and we might have touched on it before, but as well as obviously taking into account the fact that we all do have a disability, or especially the guys on the team and things like that. Away from basketball, what is sort of the atmosphere of being at a Saturday training or being in a game day, or going to the gym, with your teammates away from basketball and just looking at everyday life? What is it? What are some of the things that it's allowed you to sort of learn and you've been taught?
I think one of the key bits for me is independence.
Yeah.
Um, when I was younger, sort of growing up, it's very easy to rely on other people to do things for you.
Hmm.
And I think kind of having basketball, even the simple things of, for instance, loading wheelchairs into cars and
Yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah.
When I was young, obviously, and it's the same with everyone. I would have thought that parents do that for you. Actually, it's important that we will do that ourselves where we
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
of course. And kind of that's one of the things, one of the examples where it's like, actually, I need to be independent. I need to learn how to do all of this sort of stuff myself.
Yeah.
So I think it's that was probably one of the main things really that it taught me, is that actually I'm more than capable of doing everything,
Hmm.
and it's just actually doing it.
Yeah.
I very quickly learned that when I was sort of fairly new into basketball, is that actually just get on with it and do it.
Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it, of taking the positives from things that might not seem as positive, and learning to sort of take that from it and put it into everyday life. And speaking of taking the positives, again, I was sort of doing my research and uh, sort of nagging at Jack, tell me that, tell me this, tell me that. Um,
Yeah,
I've sort of learned about some recent games that you guys have had, and some upcoming ones. Now, obviously, you
yeah,
said that one of your first games was against a Premier League side. The Otters themselves have obviously had that promotion at the end of last season, um, and I think you guys pushed Plymouth to the very, very end of the game quite recently. Um, Jack saying that there was a lot of positives to take away from the game despite the loss. What's it like? What on a day like that when you know that you've got the guys there, you've got the capability, you've pushed them right to the end. Particularly a team that some might consider favourites to be right up there at the top. In
yeah.
Plymouth. Um, what's it like to be on. Yeah,
It's actually, I came away from that game thinking, actually, yes, I know we lost it, but actually, we actually played very, very well. And I think that it certainly gave me a boost. It certainly gave the team a boost to say, actually, even if the result on the day doesn't go your way,
yeah,
then actually you can come out of it stronger. We've got, yeah, the game, obviously, yeah, we did lose it, but then there were brilliant points within it as well.
yeah,
And it is about taking the positives from it and everything that we did really well, so that we can hone in on that on the next game. And then we know we can build sort of a stronger team and definitely make it so that the result is ours at the next time.
yeah, yeah. And speaking of next time, you guys have got a game against the Sharks. Is it the Southern Sharks coming up?
Yes, we have, yeah, on Sunday.
Oh, so great! So that's only what, two days.
It
Looking forward to
is,
that
yeah,
one.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So no, I'm really looking forward to that one. It'll be a great game. And like I say, it's we can take everything that we have learned from the Plymouth game.
yeah,
We can take that and put that into practice on court on Sunday, and hopefully, like I say, the result will be ours too.
yeah. And I know Jack was saying that obviously it's not necessarily been a start that you guys may have wanted to the season, but equally at the same time, there's still a long way to go. You guys have still got a lot of teams to play. Obviously, facing competition at the very top has been a bit of a tough going. But looking forward, obviously you've got the game on Sunday, and you've said you've seen positives. Um, have you sort of got not necessarily a goal, but can you got an idea of where you may see you guys ending up? I know I spoke to Lee a few months ago and asked him the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely we all aim to progress. I mean, obviously in Division One now, and I think definitely uh, we would love to aim for Premier again. It's a superb place to be, and I think there's absolutely no reason why any team can't aim for that, and should everyone should aim for it. But yeah, absolutely, I can see definitely in the future that we've got all the pieces to make that step up. Obviously, the Exeter Otters have been in the Premier League before,
Yeah,
and we know we can do it again. And that's definitely where I would hope that we would be sort of in a few years' time.
brilliant. And just before we sort of round up with some fun questions that I always like to sort of round off the podcast. Just really quickly, I'd love to get something from you. Not just as a player, but also as a coach. I know for myself, I sort of had a time of playing between 2014 and 2017. Had to have a fair few years off, and recently in the last sort of year or so, been introduced back to the club as a player. And also I'm now on the journey to being a qualified coach. Um, Firstly as a player, but then also leading into those maybe looking into going down the same path. What's some advice that you'd give individuals such as myself or any of the people that are looking to get into the game for the very first time? Just what's something that you would tell them if you know you've the stage is yours.
Definitely, I would say firstly, I would say that go and give it a go. Don't hesitate. Find your local club and go and get involved. Like I said earlier, it's given me so much in my life. Connections, friends, friends that I'll have for life. And don't ever be shy at trying something new is probably my first point. And my second one is that if you give it a go and you don't succeed at first, you come away thinking, oh, I've got so much to do, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it. Just keep working at it. You will get there. You will. I started when I very first started. I struggled to shoot the ball into the net. But by practicing, that soon comes, and it did for me. So you've just got to keep going. So I would definitely say just keep going and be positive, because it's such a great sport.
Yeah, awesome, definitely. And my hope in doing these types of interviews and podcasts is that people do watch this and do take inspiration. And as I was once, and as you were once, that young player that didn't know where they were going to end up. Hopefully others see it and think the same, and can push themselves and keep going, and and learn from it. So awesome stuff. Um, we've spoken a lot about basketball, but I mean, tell us a little bit about away from the court, sort of what you get up to in the week. Is it is it all basketball? Is there other elements? Just yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's not all basketball. So basketball is my hobby, if you like.
Yeah.
I am a letting agent,
Okay.
and I'm the administrator. So that's my day-to-day job.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that keeps me busy during the week. And then aside from sort of basketball, I do actually swim as well.
Okay.
Just for my physical exercise.
Yeah.
But also I love spending time with friends and family as well in between that. So
Yeah.
there's quite a bit to pack in during my week and my weekends. But I think you make the effort to do everything,
Yeah.
particularly when you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think enjoyment for everything, whether it's sport related, work related, or anything else, I think enjoyment is key, because then you just want to keep going back. So yeah, that's kind of what I do day to day, and how my week looks, really.
Awesome. And again, I mean, sort of, yes, kind of referring back to the team, but also maybe take it as a personal thing. Um, are you like sort of the one that sort of like listen to music, or maybe sit down and play video games? Sort of what's a switch off when you're not working and you haven't got to train, or
Yeah.
yeah, or not swimming or anything,
So yeah, definitely music is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
My friends, my family, my work colleagues will tell you that music forms quite a big part of me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I tend to zone out using music. But also I do like sort of watching a few films every now and again as well. So, but it is mainly music that I tend to use to actually switch off and zone out.
Awesome. And leading on from that one, I've got a co-host that unfortunately hasn't been on for a little while due to college and whatnot. Eli, he's and my other co-host Egg. They're both based in Devon. Actually, Egg isn't too far away from where you guys play at the Otters, and he
Oh,
still
wow.
hasn't been. So I'll give him a bit of a kick and say, yeah, get
Yeah,
down.
absolutely. Get him down, absolutely.
I will do. But leading on from the music thing, Eli was asking me before, because he's doing a bit of a project. He wants to know what you think is the greatest album of all time.
Oh, wow. That's a question, isn't it? Oh, greatest album.
Or band, or anything, if you
If I said a band, I would probably go. Oh, that's quite a good one. That's a good question. Well, I am a big fan of Meatloaf. So
okay.
that's sort of a band that I do regularly listen to.
Yeah.
I would probably go with them, I think.
Okay, awesome. Well, Eli, hopefully you've been watching the episode, and if you've got this far, you'll know that Meatloaf is Adam's favorite band.
Absolutely.
So that's good to know. Yeah, he wanted me to throw that one in there. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I think I've got a bit. I got myself a bit of a project in finding out players' favorite or greatest albums. Um, Something I'd like to know, and then I'll throw in a question that Egg would probably be more likely to answer because you'll very quickly learn how unique Egg is as an individual. But if you were to pick, let's say another four, with you being the fifth person, if you were to pick another four players, um, sort of wheelchair players or any basketball player, past, present, um, to sort of be on a team with or just to sit down with, who would you pick and why?
Okay, so as in within my team, or
Anybody, past,
okay,
present, yeah, any basketball player.
I'm going to have to give Jack Davey a shout out on that one.
Yeah, I don't think he'd
Current
forgive you
teammate,
if you didn't.
I know, I wouldn't live it down. I think, yeah, Jack, for sure. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and kind of the skills I've picked up from him for sure. Um, Lee, who you've met,
Yeah,
again, he's taught me a lot,
yeah,
particularly sort of playing with him on court now,
yeah.
with his experience, but also in the earlier days when I first started, Lee was about as well,
Hmm.
um, and um, then I would probably say. I would probably go to somebody like another veteran, Paul Bounden.
Uh-huh.
Paul, he wasn't playing when I on court with us when I first started,
Yeah,
but he was a table official again for sort of knowledge,
yeah.
uh, and just his general wisdom. Um, he was a massive part of the club, so absolutely. And also Tony, he again knowledge. I think
Yeah,
knowledge is key when you're starting out for sure. From other
yeah.
people, you pick a lot up from them. And also, I just give a shout out to all of my current teammates as well, and past
Absolutely.
teammates, because we all support each other. And yeah, definitely, I wouldn't be without them for sure.
Brilliant. And yeah, I mean that I think you hit the nail on the head there about having a lot of knowledge and being able to learn from it. So fair play, a good selection of guys there. By the sounds of it, for sure. Um, Jack Davy with knowledge. Are we sure there?
I know. Well,
No, I'm kidding.
I have to give it to him. He does some, yeah, he does pass them quite a bit.
Yeah, no, he's great, Jack. I just like teasing him a little bit.
Absolutely, we all do. Trust me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Jack. If you see this, we love you absolutely, and
Absolutely.
I will be down to Devon soon. I'm sure.
Oh, it'd be
Um,
great to see you.
just rounding up again. Egg. Obviously, you haven't met him. But Egg likes to ask the questions that maybe nobody else would think of. Um, yeah, questions that just come out of thin air, and maybe he hasn't put a lot of thought into, and will come up with it on the spot. Now, something that he enjoyed during the summer when the Paralympic Games were on was having me keep track of how many times players tip out of the chair. Don't know why, but that's what he wanted to know. Is that something that you find happens regularly, whether for yourself or is that something you see quite often during a game?
Absolutely, yes, yeah. For me, I end up tipping out at the most unlikely moments. I don't
Okay.
know why, I don't know how.
Yeah.
My favourite trick is to fall out backwards.
Oh,
Again, still don't know how, but it happens. But yeah, it definitely happens a lot within our games. Um, Jack being one of them.
yeah.
Shout out to Little Sam, he came out, and Damo has also come out his chair. So it does happen quite regularly.
Yeah, that's I mean something I've been on the receiving end of, and definitely even in training, when we're having a bit of a scrimmage, you see some wheels just spinning in the air. So I'm pretty sure that's a question that Egg would have asked. So I had to get that in there for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Um,
definitely.
but I mean, in fairness, I feel like we've covered a lot and had a good conversation. So with that one, I will say thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
no, as I say, the pleasure's all mine. I will wish you the very best of luck for your upcoming game, and give a massive shout out to the Exeter Otters, a massive shout out to British Wheelchair Basketball, to Egg and to Eli and everyone down in Devon and that neck of the woods. And yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for watching and for being a part of this wonderful episode. And we will see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.
Thank you.